When you hear Bugatti, you either imagine a Chiron or a Veyron, but what you do not know is that none of those two are supposed to exist. Bugatti is the definition of perfection, but before becoming that, it had to go through the darkest path any car brand has ever taken, with so many twists and failures, that one of them is about to happen as I speak. Stick till the end to know about the only car story worth knowing. It's 1909. In a French town near the German border, an Italian man by the name of Ettore Bugatti founded the company that would struggle to exist in the next years. Born into a family of artists in Milan, his father urged him to join the automotive gold rush and join the Italian companies of the time, but feeling that he mastered the entire process of making a car, he started designing models on his own. He designed the Type 1 and the Type 2, which quickly captured the attention of the public and offered him the opportunity to design for a company named De Dietrich. He designed the Type 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, before ending up leaving the company in 1904. He failed a few more times with unsuccessful partnerships, before finally establishing his own company in 1909 in a region that has been claimed by both France and Germany, which troubled the company's future. But his knowledge in art and car engineering gave him an unfair advantage. He designed the Type 13 and the Type 35, both of them dominated in racing events and competitions. But moreover, they gave Bugatti a unique reputation of luxury on the fast track. But the Great War quickly came and disturbed Bugatti and his work. Forced to move out of the region, Bugatti shifted to designing airplane engines, as it was the wisest decision he could make to stay in business during the war. Despite designing the U16 engine featuring his artistic wisdom, the engine wasn't widely successful. He then shifted again to making rail cars and built the Autorail Bugatti, which landed him a government contract. This allowed him to produce the Bugatti Model 100, which somehow never left the ground. After the war was over, he built many racing models, among them the Type 35B, which won the first ever Monaco Grand Prix in 1929, and the Type 41 Royale, which became the symbol of the brand. But after the tragic death of his son Jean Bugatti, during the testing phase of the Type 57, the company went downhill. The Great Depression greatly impacted the company. Its sales went down, the racing prime of Bugatti was over, and the Second World War put an end to the company. Shortly after the war was over, Ettore died. But he not only gave the company a unique reputation, he also gave one to himself. His customers knew him as an eccentric and egoistical person. After a customer had complained that his car wouldn't start in cold temperatures, he replied to the customer that if he was able to afford a Bugatti, he should also be able to afford a heated garage. The two next revival projects shaped Bugatti even more and prepared it for what was coming. The first one of them was by Roland Bugatti, Ettore's second son. Like father, like son, Roland was fascinated by his father's achievements and works, so fascinated that he wouldn't let the brand die. He took back control of the company in 1951, but quickly got blinded by his own dream of reviving it. Let me explain. He first started with the Type 101, which was based on a previous model Ettore had made, the Type 57. At the time, other car constructors had become even more competitive, with a wave of outstanding designs specially made for racing competitions. Ferrari had released the 250, and Jaguar had produced the XK120, and Bugatti was here releasing models that reminded the public of the 20s. Even Bugatti's customers were surprised of the effect and moved on to other car makers. But Roland was convinced of one thing, that if he did exactly what his father did, we would see the same success his father had, which was true, but under the condition that it would be done during the same time frame. Roland could not see the demand had evolved, and more importantly, the designs had shifted. Bugatti used to be the leader in automotive styling, but it had lost its crown by the 50s. The company failed and shut down only 5 years later in 1956. The second attempt was done by a man named Virgil Exner. Exner was a designer for Chrysler. His designs were so good that he became the leader of the forward-look style, a style that gave American cars a rocket-shaped body. He partnered with a designing company that we already saw in a previous video, and if you haven't seen it, subscribe to not miss any of the next videos. This styling company is Ghia, leader of Italian designs at that time. They collaborated and released a prototype called the Type 101C. Having learned from Roland's error, everything about this car was fresh new. New and weird front, new headlights, new bumper style. It almost looked like what an American car would look like. Anyways, the prototype was exhibited in 1965 in the Turin Auto Show, a showroom event with the most promising concepts of the time, all of them looking forward to secure investors and become a commercial car. But somehow zero investors were interested by the 101C. Not even the Bugatti badges could capture the public's attention, and that's how Exner failed. Indeed, the car had nothing to do with Bugatti. Even though it had a modern style, it had drifted away from the Bugatti style, as well as from the Italian style as a whole. What came next changed Bugatti's entire destiny, and is potentially the most impressive comeback in automotive history. We are in 1987, a man by the name of Romano Artioli. He wasn't your average Joe, he wasn't a foreigner, but an Italian man who knew what the Italian brand needed. After buying the rights to Bugatti and founding Bugatti Automobili S.p.A., he made a crucial decision that secured Bugatti's success. It was a financially disastrous decision, but this decision gave Bugatti the prestige that it still holds to this very day. He built the most symbolic factory ever built for a car company, the Blue Factory of Campogalliano. This factory made it to the headlines immediately, and a Bugatti model was announced. This time, it wasn't a successor of the previous ones, it was a memorial on wheels. Artioli designed, produced and released the famous EB110. Commemorating Ettore Bugatti's 110th anniversary, the EB110 wasn't like the average supercar. A carbon fibre chassis, a mid-mounted 3.5-litre quad-turbo V12, pushing up to 600 horsepower, 6-geared manual gearbox on an all-wheel drivetrain that could reach speed well over 300 kilometers an hour. Those were the specs of a trend-setting car. The EB110 attracted a huge public. Famous celebrities like Michael Schumacher became customers and advertisers of the brand. Everything was lining up perfectly. The car had big potential. The demand was there, the hype was growing, but something was off. Something was making its way to the brand right before its success. But Romano Artioli was too proud to see it coming. He put even more at stake to expand and amplify the success. In 1993, he bought Lotus, 6 years after he had bought Bugatti. Lotus had a parallel story. It was owned by General Motors, but had gone through a terrible financial situation after being impacted by the oil crisis, as well as the drop in demand for cars. Right after the founder of Lotus died, the brand was investigated for allegedly hiding revenue, and was imposed a sum so huge that it killed the brand, until Romano revived it by buying the trademark at a staggering price of $40 million. This is when everything went south. Recession was officially declared and started impacting every industry. Knowing that Artioli had spent millions in hopes of breaking even from the EB110 sales, the recession has definitely impacted him. And more importantly, Bugatti. No more demand for high-level cars meant no more sales. Bugatti had died again in 1995, but this time it was so close to a home run, and its image was secured forever. 2 years later, success came, not through an individual man, but through an entire empire. The Volkswagen Group bought the rights in 1998 and completed Artioli's work. They spent too much time and money on research in order to develop a car that can handle 1,000 horsepower and go past 400 kilometers an hour. This car was the Veyron. The story went on and the Chiron was made. But the interesting fact is that even if Bugatti was now owned by an automotive empire, it could still not break even. Every single Veyron was sold at a loss. But the gain was much less liquid than money. It was trust and respect. Volkswagen was now a respected automaker for bringing the most ambitious project to life. Forward to 2021, Meta Rimac, founder of Rimac, became co-owner of Bugatti. And knowing who Rimac is and how he spent his spare time testing hypercars, coming up with new ideas, and hanging out with Christian von Koenigsegg, we can expect something even bigger for the next few years. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss any video about cars and business.